don't do good with learning.
Okay, that's that line alone is a cold open.
Right.
Welcome to Drafted. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my this time extremely sad and devastated co-host and friend, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing tonight, my friend, and what are you drinking?
I'm not maybe as sad and devastated as I should be. For context, Alabama just blew it in the final seconds of their March Madness game, going out in the Sweet 16. You know, we live in the land of riches in Tuscaloosa, so
Yeah.
we'll get another trophy someday, and we've got a lot of sophomores on that team, so yeah, maybe we'll put it back together. You, on the other hand, got pretty creamed about 2 hours before I lost barely.
Let's take it easy, okay? Listen, we were just happy in the Sweet 16. All right, Florida State was so bad down the stretch this year. I had us losing in the second round. So, we did it. We made it a whole round further than I expected. But yeah, sad day for both of us. We're doing the March Madness brackets. Both of our teams lost on the same day, on the day we're recording. Preston's, literally, I think the game might still be going technically at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so they just lost to UCLA, so we're sad. Mm-hmm. But we're happy to be joined this week by everyone's favorite guest in the whole wide world, except for people who have a different favorite guest. It's Patrick Stegemoeller. Patrick, how are you doing? And thanks for joining us. And what are you drinking this week?
Hey, guys.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Guys, can we talk about something?
Yeah, hit us. We're here for you, man.
So I don't know if you remember, but I've been on this program before.
Mm-hmm. A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, and the last time I was on, it was a long, rollicking episode. At one point, I revealed a personal trauma from my childhood that got cut. Didn't make the final.
It was horrifying. We would have to put an age restriction on the show.
And it's fine. It's cut. You gotta make decisions. I get it.
Hey, we're not your free therapy, okay?
Yeah, come on.
But then, and even for this episode, you're like, all right, you got to be cool.
Yeah.
No crazy tangents.
Reel it in a little
all right,
bit.
Fine. You guys are pros. I respect it.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
But then I listened to your most recent episode with Keith, and you guys are out here. Preston is talking about his grandmother having like a dementic fit and pouring milk into Cheez-Its. You guys are talking about like girthy Slim Jims that you're sucking down.
Okay. No one used the phrase girthy Slim Jims, okay?
I think you dreamt that.
Second of all,
you talked about how girthy Slim Jims are.
You can't talk about Slim Jims without talking about their girth, okay? Fair is fair. We will say, full disclosure, the last episode we recorded with Pat, in which we did cut, the episode where we talked about a moose getting cut in half to be removed from his driveway.
As a child, I saw a bull moose carved in half with a chainsaw by the government in my home.
The recording of that episode, Pat, was well over 2 hours long for an episode that we hope to keep around 1 hour, okay?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
so cuts were made.
We're entertaining the notion that Preston's grandmother was like, oh yeah, it was pouring milk into Cheez-Its was definitely a real thing.
I do believe that. Knowing Preston's family, I 100% believe that was true. But Preston is a busy man this time of year. So for these bracket episodes, we've gone a little long. So they're all about 90 minutes because Preston doesn't have time to go through and edit them like he normally would.
So what you're saying is I can say whatever I want and it'll stay in the cut.
Basically,
you can say
yes.
whatever you want, and it will get cut, but some laws will get passed that are really bad because I wasn't there to stop them. So if you want to make that trade with the good people down here,
and listen, George is in a rough spot right now already.
Yeah, we're not doing so good. It was because I spent all that time editing Keith's show.
Usually we just let you roam free and then bear the punishment of cutting it all out after the fact. But we were asking you to be courteous and conscientious of the fact that we can't edit it out, and we don't want this episode to be more than like 90 minutes. That's
all right. Well, to keep things moving along, I'll answer your question.
Yes,
what
please.
I'm drinking is the only alcohol left in my fridge, which is a Polar Seltzer Arctic Chill Hard Seltzer. Pineapple pomelo flavor. It's really bad.
Ooh, it didn't sound good.
Really horrible. Would not recommend.
Maybe if seltzer had been in the name a few more times, it might have been good.
Right, they're really trying to trick you. Like, all those other seltzers you've enjoyed.
This is a seltzer.
Maybe this is also one of them. It's not.
And I don't think Preston gave us an answer for his drink, did he? I see what he's thinking on.
I also ran out of stuff in my fridge. I don't think I've been to a grocery store in like a month. So I'm drinking a hard seltzer that's probably from spring 2019, something like that. So yeah, I hope it's fine. It's probably fine, right? It's fine.
Yeah, stuff doesn't expire. That's a myth.
No.
Made up by a big grocery.
Yeah.
I am drinking. This is like our last episode for the bracket thing. We're gonna take next week off. We'll probably release some previously unreleased content from season 1. Ooh. Maybe only for subscribers, perhaps, to keep you, to whet your appetites. We're going to take a week break, recompose ourselves. I forgot why I'm saying this. Oh, because next week we won't be able to have a show where I am prepping for the Masters. So I am drinking a hard Arnold Palmer tonight.
Very hard based on that delivery, yeah.
I'm not drunk at all. I don't know why I'm saying your words. Perhaps because it's 10 o'clock and I'm like drunk on college basketball right now.
Sure.
But yeah, it sounds like we're ready to go. So Preston, what are we bracketing this week?
Well, thanks to the fine people over on our Discord server and some other folks that have filled out our survey, we have a seeded bracket of the best superpowers to have. And I think all of us have said that we don't know how this is going to go. We're in a little bit of a wing it territory, but I am probably at about the halfway point of rewatching the entire MCU archive with my fiance. That's just what we've been watching instead of TV and like short little chunks. Everything, even the really bad stuff. So like I feel like I've kind of been preparing for this and maybe just didn't know.
Your whole life, I feel like you've been preparing for this.
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
a big like Batman guy, right? Even though I know he doesn't have any superpowers, but
huge. I will fight people on the recent interpretations of Batman and all that stuff. I've got a nice collection of stuff. Yeah. Well, and also just Ben Affleck just being like a kind of not wanting to see him. So
too much girth.
Too much.
Is that your issue?
Too many Slim Jims. Yeah, there's no body shaming on this podcast. Okay, I will not stand for it. But that's right. We consulted. We got a lot of flack for the structure of last week's episode. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give these people what they think they want. I'm going to let them pick the goddamn bracket. So we sent out a little Google survey earlier today. Thank you, everyone, for who responded. We got a pretty good response. So if you complain about the bracket, you have no one to blame but yourselves this time, okay? But shall we get right into the first matchup here? I don't know even the context of what best superpower is.
We're going to figure it out.
Is it like best superpower for me to have in my day-to-day life? I don't know. But we're just going to figure it out. We're going to wing it. Let's get right into it. Our first matchup here, the number 1 seed, we have flying versus the 16 seed precognition, which is basically being able to see the goddamn future. I don't know how that ended up as the 16 seed, but flying is number 1. I'll start right off the bat, okay? I think flying is extremely overrated. I think a lot of people said that they would like to fly. I have no interest in being able to fly. None whatsoever. I'm leaning towards voting precognition here. I'd like to hear some of the arguments first. But that's where my head's at off the start.
So my immediate jump goes to the deal with the devil side that we're going to have with all of these things, which is like, yes, you get the superpower, but what are the really horrible consequences you now have to deal with because you do that? So like being able to see the future sounds nice, but it really is going to put you in some awful situations.
The future's not looking great right now either.
No. And will you be able to stop everything, right? Don't know if you guys have heard of a little movie called Minority Report. It explores this idea a little bit. All I'm saying is flying, there's not a huge downside. There's no hidden print in the contract. You can just kind of fly around. Maybe you accidentally violate sovereign airspace or something like that. But other than that, you're kind of okay.
I think that, we're really going to have to do a lot of sort of definitional work and figuring out the extent of what we're talking about here in terms of how good are you at any of these things? Are you do you have to fight other people who have superpowers at some point? If you have them, all this kind of stuff. I will say that flying is amazing. In theory, flying is the dream of, we all yearn to taste the skies like Icarus or whatever.
It didn't end well for him.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But if you don't, but this is my point. If you don't have titanium bone structure or even just the ability to keep yourself warm.
Yeah,
I feel like
you're gonna
flying
die quick.
could go bad real quick.
Yeah.
You know, like you try to land for the first time and you just shatter both of your kneecaps.
Think about how hard landing in an airplane is. And then think about you doing that with your body.
Like, flying is an amazing superpower if you have another superpower to go with it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because right now, if I could just fly, I would probably get myself killed by flying too high and trying to land or whatever. Or B, someone would just shoot me. You know, if you saw someone
what the
flying,
fuck is that thing in the sky?
you just, or even if you
shoot him down.
Even if you knew it was a person, you'd be like, who does this guy think he is? Some fucking big shot. I'll show him.
Yeah.
Like, you also need something else.
Do you guys watch the Marvel movies?
Yeah.
Because there are several characters that can fly that don't have, like, super strength and some other stuff. And they just kind of slow themselves down before they hit the surface. So I think...
Well, that's because the best superpower in Marvel is money.
That's true.
So you can just buy whatever suit or whatever else you need.
Absolutely. Also the best superpower.
Which I guess, to be fair, if you can fly, you can probably make some money.
Sure.
Doing that somehow.
Sure.
You know.
Think about how much money those Amazon Prime drones are going to make once they start delivering things for us. Sure, those are going to be the richest drones in the
this
world.
is like a bleak, like, dystopian, like, graphic novel where it's like you're a superhero, but you have to work for Amazon because the only employment you can have is as a
that is like
drone.
It is like something out of The Boys for sure. Yes.
I still, despite all that, I still think I'm going to vote for flying.
Okay.
Because precognition seems horrifying.
See, I feel like precognition comes with the assumption that you can control it. Like, when you need to see the future, you can do that.
But you can't control the future based on that. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put my coin in this slot machine, and I'm going to see with my precognition what happens. What happens in your sight where you're looking at the slot machine, you see somebody in the background get shot with, like, a shotgun. You know, like, you don't get to choose what you see and choose what's about to happen. This is a superpower I actively don't want. Like, I don't want this thing.
I feel like you could get lost in your own precognition.
Yes.
Like it'd be like doing heroin or something, where it's just like you like see
I think
too much of the future.
I think that's a positive.
All right.
Man, this is the absolute worst bracket for one where you guys are like, look, it's late.
We got to keep it tight. No, I know. I was thinking the exact same thing. So it sounds like Pat is voting for flying. It sounds like Preston's doing the same. Is that? Are those both accurate statements? Okay. I will vote for precognition in a meaningless throwaway vote. Because I think it's better to vote for a losing cause than to abstain. God damn it. Politicians could learn something from that, I think. So flying moves on to the next round. And it will face two, what I think are the two most conventional superpowers. Like when you think superpowers, what are the first things you think of? For me, it's super strength and super speed. And that's the 8-9 matchup we have here. Does anyone have any preliminary thoughts?
Super speed without super strength seems like a terrible idea. You start going real fast.
Is the Flash super strong?
He's stronger. He's stronger because he can move really fast. But like, I guess that's a good point.
I mean, we have there's like a Edna Mode corollary here, where it's like, do you have someone making a super suit for you?
Yeah.
Because if you have super speed, but you're wearing normal clothes, they'll just burst into flames and you'll burn to death from like the friction or whatever.
No, you're moving so fast the flames don't get to your body; they're immediately brushed off. That's how physics
True, but then you're naked whatever destination you arrive at. You're naked. So I feel like it's like if you have, I think we can, as we're figuring this all out, we can assume that maybe you have access to a super suit. Maybe you have to use these powers to fight other people with superpowers. You don't necessarily know that, but like how useful it is, like how many accoutrements you need with it for it to be effective factors into like how good of a superpower is. So I think super speed is incredible if you have some sort of a like super suit that allows you
I don't mind
to,
running
like,
naked through the streets, okay?
Just your feet would hurt so bad.
I'd have great shoes.
So we haven't really talked about super strength though. I feel like super strength has a lot more utility involved here and a lot less potentially dangerous side effects.
For you.
Okay.
A lot of potentially dangerous side effects.
I think with super speed comes like the ability to see and react to things very quickly. I feel like
Sure.
that's a given.
Agreed.
Super speed.
Sure.
Agreed.
So rain, yes, but like then just stop running real fast in the rain. You know.
Yeah, but like, what other conditions do you need to put on super strength for it to become useful? Right.
I just think super speed would be more fun.
Well, yeah, but
I agree.
people
I think
die every
super
day,
speed is
Dan.
more fun.
If you want to be a hero, super strength is the way to go. Like, if you want to
Listen,
actually do something.
I'm out for myself.
I don't know.
Every single
I feel
one
like
of these.
Act 1 of Hercules is a compelling argument for why super strength in a world without, like other gods and stuff is like kind of a burden. You know?
Kind of.
Call back to the snubbed Hercules of a couple of brackets ago.
Ouch.
He wins
But,
the girl though.
Yeah, but not with the size of his muscles.
Yeah.
With the size
After
of his
being
heart.
completely shamed in a game of
that was
frisbee.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, he sucks at frisbee.
gets
'cause
totally
he's too
dogged
Too
on.
strong. He's too strong.
Whereas you'd be like super speed. You're a huge asset. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm voting super speed here.
Pat.
I'm saying super speed because I think it's if you're fighting like another like super villain, or if you're the super villain, you're fighting a superhero, someone else with superpowers. I feel like speed is a little bit more of a wild card to have to deal with than super strength. Where super strength is almost seems like a lot of people kind of have some way to get that right. You can have a gun. Like a gun,
Right.
Sort of. A gun is kind of both. It's super speed and super strength in a way.
Damn.
So I'm going to go with super speed because I think it's a little more fun, and I feel like I'm probably less likely to accidentally kill someone than with super strength, where like I pat someone.
Yeah,
on the
like you
back in a
hug
bar,
someone and you kill them.
right, just crush them like Nana crunch.
Yeah, it'd be bad. I also think like humans. I mean, maybe this is a ridiculous thing to think, but I feel like humans can get naturally closer to super strength than they can to super speed. Like people can get super strong than they can get super fast.
It is a weird trope of like superhero movies where you have an actual person who like fell into a radioactive waste or whatever versus a guy who just does like 10 pull-ups every morning and they go at it in a fight and you're supposed to believe like one of
One
those can
Punch
hold
Man.
their own. Yeah.
Has anyone here
ridiculous.
seen One Punch Man?
Yes.
One Punch Man's incredible. Everyone should watch it.
I'm going to go super strength for the same reason Dan went for his weird precognition pick.
All right, well, I'm going super speed here, Pat.
This is really tough because super speed more fun, but it requires much more upkeep. I feel like whereas super strength is like you can just on a base level like super strength is useful, whereas super speed
Right.
you kind of have to find someone to build you a suit. But I think I'm going to go super speed because I feel like the potential of super speed is a little bit higher than the potential of super strength. I feel like you hit a ceiling with super strength where you kind of need some other power to like really fight people. Whereas the Flash is like an absolute elite tier superhero based solely on speed alone. Like he can run back in time and shit like that.
Sure.
And I'm not saying I'm counting on being able to do that with my super speed,
I don't
but I
think
think the ceiling's a little higher. So I'm gonna go with super speed.
That's a tough one, though. I mean, super strength and super speed are, like I said, like the two most conventional superpowers. I think a little unfortunate they meet in the first round there. Okay, next
Is
week.
this what you wanted at home, you fucking rocket-making listeners?
Goddamn listeners.
I also like that they were like, "Oh, I hate how like inconsistent you are with all of your reasonings," and now we're just like totally making shit up on the
we're way
fly
off.
and have already contradicted ourselves within the first two.
Can we out that person? That was Adrian, Preston's friend Adrian, good friend of the show,
Oh, I know Adrian.
outing himself in the Discord, which everyone should join. And it's like, man, inconsistent. Have you ever listened to any other episode of the show? Like bracket or draft?
That was a relatively par for the course episode of
Yeah,
how
I thought so
weird
too.
And non-formatted it was.
People just feel so connected to snacks.
We tried to figure out who would win between 10,000 rats and like 12 gorillas. So like I didn't think saying Oreos and Doritos were in the same category was like that much off of home base.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. But we love our listeners. We do.
It's true.
As wrong as they may
I
be
don't.
sometimes.
Pat doesn't.
I don't love your listeners.
About any of you
I
guys.
think they're fucking jerks.
Sometimes I feel that way too. Okay. We have the 4 versus 13 matchup next. The 4 seed Invisibility versus 13 force fields. Being able to like generate force fields. And I think with the force fields, it's not just around yourself. Like you can cast a force field around something is my interpretation of it. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is essentially what Violet can do in The Incredibles, right? This is both of her shticks, force fields and invisibility.
Oh yeah. Which Violet power is better? Good call.
I again feel like with invisibility, you're being able to do it is going to make you want to do it, and it's going to make you learn some things that you don't want to know. We'll get into this with mind reading.
I don't know if I trust myself with invisibility.
I totally agree.
I'm mentally strong enough. Come on, you guys. Don't be chumps.
Do your clothes, and same thing with the super suit. It's like, okay, are your clothes also turn invisible? Like,
no,
if you're gonna
just
sneak,
go naked.
if you're gonna,
Who cares? No one can see you.
So you're going to sneak into a concert and just be hanging brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
haven't heard that phrase in a long time.
What is never explored with invisibility is that when you are invisible and you go somewhere, you are alone. Like, you have to be alone. Like, there is no.
I feel like if I had invisibility, I would turn into Gollum.
Yes.
You know, I'd become corrupted. I would only start using it for selfish purposes.
I need some food, so I'm going to go into a grocery store, but I'm going to go invisible just because. And then I do all those little things invisible, and then I realize I haven't had actual human contact in a year, which I wonder what that's like. God, we would never know.
Just don't do that. Just don't go invisible for a year.
I don't trust myself.
I didn't know I was joined by two such morally weak people tonight.
Absolute power corrupts.
Have you met me, Daniel?
Two. I said two. Pat, I expected, but Preston, I'm surprised by.
Meanwhile, force fields, again, some very cool practical uses.
I just feel like you're going to be in the military or a cop, and that's literally it.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm voting for force fields solely as a vote against invisibility.
I really hate invisibility, too.
This is ridiculous.
I don't want to be naked and alone everywhere when I'm using my power.
You guys are acting like you're going to be forced against your will to use your power in situations you don't want to use them in.
Have you ever been bored?
Yes. Yes.
That's
I don't then do something that I will like lock myself into permanently as a result of my boredom. I've never once done that.
There is no out of combat use for force fields, right? Like, what's the practical day to day?
I'm still voting force fields as I think
that's a massive mistake. And if Preston also votes that way, it'll be one of the biggest mistakes we've ever made on the show. Wow. And we may never get the listeners back after it.
I think there's a lot of applications for force fields. Any sort of combat, very useful.
Okay, we got that one.
Yeah. You can, even out of combat, you never need an umbrella.
Okay.
Okay, but the thing is, we have umbrellas, though.
Can you fly with a force field?
No. What? Why? Why would you be able to?
Why not?
What do you mean, why not?
Because you can create a force field around yourself and then
it's
move
an invisible wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you create a bubble around yourself.
And then how does it go into the sky?
And then move it. Because you move it.
No, I think this is you don't move. You don't move force fields, really.
No.
You totally do. If we're basing this on Violet's abilities from The Incredibles, she moves her force fields around.
Yeah, but she can't fly. The only reason it is able to move as well as it does is because what's his name, the younger brother, is in there with her, and he's
Dash
doing the crazy
is moving
super
around.
Speed stuff.
That's true.
Well, I'm not saying you're gonna go incredibly quickly, but you can at least like go underwater and do cool shit with it.
You could go underwater. I'll give you that.
It sounds like Bubble Boy.
Yeah.
He's rolling down the street.
Yeah, you're
like
kind of hurting it a little
over.
bit, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's easy invisibility.
I'm voting invisibility,
personally.
But it's a weak pass.
Thank you, Preston.
Weak pass through.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I am glad that invisibility moves on here. Okay, this is a very, very, very interesting matchup. We have 5-seed telekinesis versus 12-seed telepathy.
This one's easy.
Yeah, just to be clear, telepathy is the ability to read people's minds and thoughts.
And I think communicate.
Yeah,
with just,
that's going to be a hard pass for you, boy. For all the reasons I named about invisibility and the other one that I can't even remember at this point, precog,
you disappoint
is that, like, you don't want to be able to do this. We were not built to be able to do this.
I feel like it could be very useful from any sort of interpersonal, like, you would always know exactly how to apologize. You would never, like, you'd be able, like, a big part of the problem with communication is we use words, and words are limited, and, you know, there's always some, like, awkwardness. Like, if you're an anxious person, there's a lot of social anxiety. I feel like being able to have, like, much more of an insight into how people, you know, actually are thinking and feeling. Like, you still have to get to a point where, you know, you're comfortable with yourself. Because if you find out why people don't like you, that's
my
not
self-esteem not really high enough to be able to handle that.
Yeah. So I disagree with that because I think, like, oh my god, what I'm about to say. Okay, this really is going to get cut. The joy of being around other people is slowly learning what they are like and what makes them tick and what's actually going on behind the little curtain they put in front of you. If you just always know these things all the time, it takes away this discovery of things.
You could just exhibit a little willpower, and then you wouldn't have that problem.
Don't have it. Don't have it, can't find it.
I do think the ability is telekinesis. If for no other reason, you could do some cool-ass party tricks with telekinesis.
Absolutely. You don't have to get up to get the remote.
I mean, both are like magic tricks, you know. Yeah. Like mind reading is like a big part of. I mean, I think being able to read minds would be so useful.
It would be extremely useful.
I feel like we're really writing telepathy off here. That said, I'm voting telekinesis because I think telekinesis is going to win this whole thing.
Wow,
probably.
Calling his shot.
But I just wanted to not dance on the grave of telepathy because I think telepathy has a lot of like good interpersonal uses. And
I think so. I think this ability
from like a business standpoint or something.
The ability to communicate.
Yeah.
You're just talking about like being able to read people's minds, but like with telepathy, you can communicate with people non-verbally.
Yeah,
which is I think
telepathy is much easier to if you're trying to blend in and not let anyone know that you have superpowers. Telepathy is great.
Yeah,
because it's a total silent, you know, like no one knows. Whereas with telekinesis, you're like moving shit around. You can do it sneaky, I guess, but
yeah.
But I feel like we're balancing here, like. If it's an everyday thing, or it's just like you in your life right now, what you have, but also considering like, okay, but what if I'm now like there's other people with superpowers and I might have to fight them at some point or something. And telekinesis is just like almost a cheat code. I don't even want to talk about it too much because I feel like we're going to get into this in later matchups, but I'm voting for telekinesis now.
I will also vote for telekinesis, but I agree with Pat that telepathy is an underrated power. So telekinesis moves on to the Elite Eight, unlike mine and Preston's college basketball teams.
Ooh.
Hey-o!
Too soon for both of us? Okay, we hop over to the other half of the bracket now. We have 2 seed, the ability to control time. So like rewind time, freeze time, versus super senses. Now this is like super hearing,
like Spidey
sight,
senses,
including Spidey senses. We're going to include Spidey senses on this, even though it's not like one of the 5 senses. But it seems to fit. I think it fits with like the super senses thing. So where are our thoughts on this matchup?
I think the first important clarifying question is what kind of time travel are we dealing with? Like Avengers time travel, they can kind of do whatever, and they're really not going to mess a whole lot up.
So I think it's not. I don't think it's quite time travel. I think it's the ability to control time. So I think the ability to like rewind time or stop time more so than like I'm going to go 5,000 years in the past or the future or whatever. That's like
although theoretically, if you have the ability to rewind time, you can go back as far as you want.
Is that right? I mean, are we doing it to only places you've been
like
before?
Where you undo yourself if you go too far back?
Well, I don't know. How does this work?
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like this is one where it's sort of like if you take it to its logical extremes and we're assuming you have like complete mastery of this discipline, then it becomes the most powerful thing here. By
you
far.
can just any bad guy that comes, you can just go unborn them, and then you're good.
Right. If it's you sort of have like some ability, like you can pause time, you can rewind like 15 seconds or whatever, because you're not like you don't have full control over the ability. Then I think it becomes a little more interesting. I mean, still being able to pause time is still unbelievably powerful.
Yes,
pretty huge.
I would say the way we should do it is that your control of time means you can go to places you have been in your life at the age you were and things like that, and relive those experiences and travel in up to the point where you have already lived, and then also pause if you want to pause.
I will say for 2 people who are very concerned about like the psychological effects of some of these superpowers, I think specifically the way Press is talking about it, the ability to go back and relive life's moments, that seems real.
Make no mistake,
teetering on danger.
I am setting this up to put logic behind my vote against this because I think you are absolutely right. I don't think there is a good instance in our like pop culture where this goes super well and there are no consequences.
I think pausing time, if it was just pausing time, would maybe be the number 1.
Ooh.
I think if it's just pausing time and the ability to like move around while everything else is paused, That might be the best. But if you also...
That also seems dangerous, though. You just pause time forever, get lost.
Well, but then you just unpause it.
That's what I was trying to say with some of the things you guys had hang-ups on. You're like, no, I couldn't. I couldn't trust myself.
But there's no impetus to not unpause it.
No, there is, because
you
you
like,
can I haven't seen this thing yet. I got to see literally every single
Yeah,
thing.
but it's paused. It's stuck, you know? Like, you can't
fully
like
experience life while it's paused. So you would go to the place, unpause it, and then, yeah.
Did either of you watch the TV show Heroes? Wasn't there that one guy who could... How does that play out? I never watched it. But there's the one guy can pause time, right?
Not good. Not good.
Well, give us some details here. We need some, real world examples.
So freaking old. I don't remember. I mean, I'm basing it more off of a really excellent romantic comedy called About Time. If anybody's ever seen that, like, that's my theory of time travel. But like, so the butterfly effect isn't like crazy huge. But
which one's About Time? I've heard of this, but I don't know if I've seen it or not.
The male protagonist can travel back in time to at any point where he was in his life, and all the men in the family can. But anyways.
What is even the other one here? Because I forgot. Time travel
super senses. I think super senses are like a pretty weak superpower. I'm a little surprised they made it into the top 16.
Agreed.
I feel like it's got to be time control here, despite.
Time control is just too powerful to not pick here, yes. And like because pausing time is incredible. Pausing time, you can limitless possibilities.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Did you say possibilities?
Ooh. I hope not.
Isn't that like
welcome to Olive Garden, where we have unlimited possibilities?
I think is that not Olive
Garden? Is that a
slogan?
real thing?
I think it is. It's definitely someone's slogan, unlimited possibilities, and it's probably Olive Garden's, right?
I would imagine. I mean, Olive Garden definitely has cornered the market on
possibilities,
pasta puns,
on possibilities.
Are you looking it up, Preston?
I am.
Yeah,
I'm just typing into Google possibilities,
or like imagine the possibilities or something like that. This is great radio, folks.
There are a lot of Italian restaurants just named Possibilities.
Okay.
All right. Well, I thought I was clever.
No, it can't be Olive Garden, because Olive Garden is when you're here, you're family. And I feel like that's always been their slogan.
I've never felt like family inside of an Olive Garden.
Somewhere out there, someone's using Imagine the Possibilities. And if not, we're turning Drafted into a pasta-making venture.
Interesting. That's a
we
weird
all agreed
term.
on that.
That's a weird content turn to go on, but sure.
Everything's about a venture these days, okay? That's how you make money. You make money.
What is this venture? What is Drafted's current venture?
Making podcasts.
Plural?
We're a podcast plural? We're a podcast making venture.
So right now we're imagining the podstabilities, but in the future we might be imagining the possibilities. Okay,
yeah.
God. I just wanted your words, not mine.
That's a new slogan. Imagine the podstabilities.
Yeah. According to what Daniel just said, we're looking to expand our Drafted podcast family.
Hey, man, we're never gonna, limit our scope or our empire, right?
Sure.
I'm just trying to keep an open mind here. Okay. Our next matchup, we have 7-seed Shapeshifting versus 10-seed Regeneration.
Talk me through what regeneration means.
Like, you lose a body part, your arm gets cut off, you just quickly grow a new one.
Okay, can you die?
I think yes.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a Hulk or Wolverine thing where that you become like an alcoholic because you can't die.
Well, don't both of them die?
Wolverine in theory could die.
Well, yeah, but through
doesn't Wolverine does die, right, in Logan?
Wow, spoilers.
Yes.
I've not even seen it, but I'm pretty sure he does.
I've not seen it either.
Okay. He does. It's great. He does. He does die. But you can only Wolverine canonically, most of the time, Wolverine can only die through some crazy special
magic curse or something.
I think if you get caught up in a nuclear bomb, you're gonna die. You can't regenerate.
I think that Wolverine literally gets nuked and his atoms reassemble themselves.
Okay, well, no, wow. I don't think that's regeneration. I think
it's pretty good.
I think regeneration is you lose something and you're able to grow a new one. But
so
if you're instantly killed by something, I think you still die.
Okay, so you can regrow anything as long as you're still alive.
Yeah. Can you get drunk?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I mean, most superheroes that have this ability can't get drunk. Captain America can't get drunk. Captain Marvel can't get drunk. There's a bunch.
I don't think that's related, right? It's got to be some sort of other thing.
I'm just saying, if you can't get drunk, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna be trying pretty much everything you can.
Dark.
Just to feel something.
I mean, maybe I just don't. Maybe I'm just not aware of like the molecular level of the effects of alcohol. But I feel like
it's poison.
Oh, I know that, but
right?
like, is it like, do you get drunk because like stuff inside of you is dying? I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, it thins out your blood, and in theory, if you're regenerating, it's because your blood's working overtime like crazy.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, don't just say no to my fake
No,
science.
you
My
can
fake
still- you can
science
still
is
get
better than
drunk.
your fake science.
No, there's no
fine.
reason you wouldn't still be able to get drunk. Frankly, I
I
think
can't
it's
believe
ridiculous.
you cut my moose story, but you're keeping this.
I'm gonna leave in our superhero.
Listen, now your
biology.
moose story is going to be like the most listened to story in all of Drafted, okay? You ended up the winner in that exchange. But yeah, there's no reason to think you wouldn't be able to get drunk from regeneration.
All right. What's the other one here?
Shape-shifting.
Can you turn into like animals?
I think yes.
Then it's
So
shape.
this is basically, it's like, would you rather be Mystique or would you rather be Wolverine?
Well, Mystique can't turn into
some
like a
ways.
bird and fly away.
Good point.
So
good
if
point.
we have
She
that
can
level of
only-
shape-shifting, it's that all the way. No
Yes,
confidence.
like are you an animagus basically as well?
I'm going to say that this goes into sort of like there's a spectrum of shape-shifting, and you're kind of having to take all of it. So that it's got very high ceiling of like if you're an amazing shapeshifter and you could turn into a black hole and suck up, on one level that's how far you can get, and you can like end the cosmos.
Wow.
Or you can just be like Tonks from Harry Potter, and you're like, my hair's different now. No shot. R.I.P. Tonks. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Gone way too soon.
That's. I'm gonna go shape-shifting. Because regeneration is another one of these, like, you need it. It's a secondary power.
Yeah.
that's great if you
it's
have
never
something
it's
else
never
going
a
on.
first. Yeah, it's never a top.
Right, because
of the
otherwise,
power.
especially if you don't have like pain immunity, it's like
True.
if your only power is that like when I fight these other superpowered individuals, they really beat the hell out of me, but I survive it.
Yeah. So my power is persistence. Yeah. No,
Well, that's
right.
that's like Deadpool. It hurts him, right?
Yes.
But
Right.
He
He
regenerates
always
awful
brings it back.
slow too. Like he
It
does
is-
come
it is
back, but
pretty
it's
slow.
not the same as like Wolverine where you can like see it happening.
He takes
real
some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm gonna say if we're going on like if you can train at it, you can start to do some of these wilder things. It's shape shifting and like for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think I agree. So shape-shifting moves on to the next round. And that seems right. That seems right to me. Regeneration may be seated a little high, in fact, at the 10 seed. I think there are some things that are seated lower that I would have above personally.
Can't get drunk.
As we all agree, you can't get drunk if you regenerate. Okay. I think this is going to be a landslide. This is like... I'm surprised that this one made it a little bit. We have number 3 seed, Mind Control. That is obviously not the surprising one. The 14 seed, though, Phasing, as in being able to like phase through solid objects. Like you're on one side of the wall, then you're all of a sudden you're on the other side of the wall.
So this is the ultimate litmus test showdown between the thing that is like clearly superior but could like ruin your life and like make you an empty shell, or the thing that is like not that useful but you could like very easily integrate into everyday activities and your life would be pretty sweet. Like never having to wait in line for anything.
Why wouldn't you have to wait in line?
Yeah.
Because you just go through the side of the building.
To do what?
To get into a club, to get into a concert, to get into
Okay,
you know what I mean?
sure,
Like
sure.
you can just
You're still
just
waiting in line at the
access-
drive-through though.
True, right? You still have to right. Yeah, all right.
I mean, you are, you know.
This is
Like
what
you're basically only skipping lines that are like lines to get into an area.
yeah.
I mean, you could phase through the wall of the drive-in, take someone else's bag, yoink it, and then
I suppose that's true.
phase through the wall of someone's
People
car.
would still
You're
see
like,
you do
oh,
it,
just
though.
take this.
But then you could never be put in jail for anything.
Right,
you
you
do,
would
ever.
just walk out and
Yeah.
then be like, all right, see you next week. Yeah, you could, just walking through walls probably saves you a lot of time.
For some reason, I feel like mind control is. I know you said it's one of those where like you're testing your own willpower to run into massive downsides. I feel like for some reason it's easier to control than some of the other ones. I think it's because of the act of having to do it, like having to really make like a conscious choice of like I'm looking at this one person and I'm gonna make this one person go do this thing, as opposed to like reading their thoughts or looking into their future.
Basically,
for some reason,
are you
I feel
a Jedi
like,
or a Sith is what it comes down to.
I feel like mind control, I would have enough willpower to only use it when it was like just like really little things. Like, hey, you got my order wrong on this thing. I don't want to tell you got my order wrong because I feel like that's mean. But I do need you to go get my right order so I can have it, please. So like that.
I feel like you can do that. I feel like you can do that with your words.
No.
Now.
No social anxieties. No.
I think that mind control is a little more concerning, but phasing through walls is just not useful enough.
Yeah. If you're,
so I'm gonna vote mind control, but I'm like a little wary about it moving forward.
If you're drafting powers to exist as an actual human in a universe with other people that have superpowers, as Pat has used like for a few scenarios here, you're taking mind control so far before you're taking phasing.
Yes.
I think like phasing. And I was talking with a good friend of the show, last week's guest, Keith Rayner, about this because he's like a big superhero guy. He helped me split some of the tiebreakers. There were like some things that had the same number of votes, and he was pointing out that phasing can be a good like secondary, tertiary superpower. Like if you're good at other stuff, then phasing can be super useful. Like if you can phase through a wall and then absolutely kick ass after, phasing can be really good.
And if like someone throws a truck at you and you can just like go through it, you know, like you can in some ways it's a useful fight mechanism as like someone tries to punch you or whatever and they just go straight through you, but you have to also be able to punch them back.
But in the instances where you're like in a bank and you're trying to get into the vault, or you're in like prison and you're trying to break out, there is nothing there that you can just do with the mind control. Like you can just have somebody let you in. Yes.
No, exactly. Yeah, no. I think it's a landslide mind control for me personally. I do understand. Like, I think they're in a bracket where we've already touched on a lot of the potential. That's not a word at all. The potential drawbacks to like these super abilities. I think there is no superpower in this bracket that has a more obvious one of those than mind control. Like it's pretty hard to like control people's minds and then write it off as like, oh, but I'm a good guy.
Right.
Like it's I think probably impossible, you know?
I mean, we just watched, I'm assuming most of us just watched a whole Disney Plus miniseries about this.
I did not actually. I can't do the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff anymore. I've had my fill.
All right. In any event, mind control still easily breaches.
I assume you're referring to WandaVision, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
In which there are some pretty intense moral questions raised that don't really get resolved in the way I think everybody was hoping, but that's okay.
So yeah, it's dark. Don't get me wrong, it's dark. But like, if you're like, okay, there are people that have superpowers. Some of them are going to be bad. I'm taking fucking mind control, like way ahead of phasing. I think we all agree on that. Okay, our final first round matchup here. We have Elemental Control, the 6 seed, versus the 11 seed Weather Control. I think
these are very similar.
Yeah, I think in a way you could maybe argue that Weather Control would fall under Elemental Control, but I think they're different enough that it's fair to have them.
I'm going to say you have to pick one element.
Yeah, I agree. Right. I agree. You don't get control all of them, but I think they're similar enough in terms of value that like it would make sense to have like fire control, electricity control, etc.
Yeah, you're not the Avatar.
No.
You can bend one.
You're one bender.
You're not right.
Correct.
What's the one thing you pick if you're choosing it on the Avatar spectrum of elements?
Magneto seems pretty sick.
The magnets.
Being able to
I
do
also
metal.
thought of Static Shock maybe.
Yeah. Oh man, Static Shock was so fucking good.
But yeah, I think I would rather. Would I rather control one element over all weather? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The weather seems pretty good. Weather seems real good.
And if you're considering if you're casting yourself as a hero, I feel like there's a lot of humanitarian good you can do with weather control.
You do put yourself in a situation where you're never going to be able to do enough, though. I know. I'm just saying.
That's a compelling character.
You go to the desert, right? And you've got this small village of people, and you rain water down on them, and they've got crops for however long now. You gonna go back every weekend? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what about
first
the other
you're jazzed
villages,
about it,
you know?
and this is great, and they throw you a big ceremony, and you become their god or whatever. You're like, oh, this is amazing. And then, like, a couple of weeks later, they're like, hey, We could use water again.
So
if you're like, oh, I'm going. I got plans that weekend.
Yeah. I'm gonna just go make a tornado in the middle of the ocean because it's cool.
So maybe from pure simplicity of life angle, elemental control is better then.
I feel like if you have weather control, you can keep it under wraps, maybe. Like, just keep.
I do like the idea of haunting a person with weather.
Whoa!
That
like being able
it's
to
like a rain cloud over your mortal enemy for their entire life.
Right.
I do like that a lot. Actually,
sounds very cool. Yeah, I'm going with that.
Damn.
That is. Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more stuff you can do, and as much as I say the downside of some of the humanitarian stuff, that I like it.
I will say with weather control, do I get to control the temperature I experience at all times?
I would think so. I mean,
Yes.
you don't get to just raise it like crazy, but you can bring out the sun.
No, I want to keep it like a crisp. I want to keep it like a crisp 60 degrees all the time.
I think you can train up to that. Okay. I feel like at the beginning you're probably just like, oh, I can make it rain. But like you can, once you start getting into like I can affect the humidity and I can affect like wind and stuff, then I feel like you can probably figure out a way to do.
All right, well, I'm voting weather control here then.
Also, weather control because I never want to have to experience turbulence ever again in my life. So definitely that.
Great point. I think I land on.
It's weird air patterns. Sure, I don't know. I mean, I try
think
not
it's a
to think
stretch.
too much about what it is. Really, I think it's God. I think it's God trying to punish me for something bad I did when I was a kid.
I mean, if this is your angle, I think you got to go elemental control here and then control the wind.
No, because that has no other ability outside of that.
I don't know, man. I'm going elemental control.
You can't fly with wind control. You can mostly fly with wind control. You need a little bit like Aang and Avatar has.
You just got to get a hang glider. That's all you need.
And then you
can fly with you can fly with elemental control if you're Magneto. Magneto can fly.
I guess in the movies he does fly, doesn't he? How does he do that?
Yeah, because he can levitate and control metal. So he has like a metal suit. So he just
got like a metal chastity belt.
I'm going elemental control. I probably would go metal Magneto style, but I feel like there's a lot of great applications for water bending. Like blood bending seems pretty useful.
Yeah.
That's dark though, man.
And weather, and the thing is, I feel like weather. What has swayed me on it is weather could be very useful, but there'd be that just like, can I do enough? Like your powers are so sort of like grand in scope. It's hard to individualize them. You know, I guess you can control the temperature around you. You can haunt an enemy with a rain cloud. I do like that, but mostly it's like big picture stuff, and that's a little tougher.
Can I strike people with lightning?
I think you can try.
That's true.
You can try, right? You can create the conditions.
Yeah,
for
and like
the person.
if you get good at it, you can.
Can I create a Sharknado?
I don't see why not.
You find some sharks.
Yeah.
You create a tornado.
Those are the two main ingredients.
I think I have to vote weather control.
Me too.
I have to.
All right.
Me too.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's very close. I mean,
I'll just be over here raising metal with Fassbender and McKellen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could easily argue, like I said, that that weather control falls under elemental control. But I do think it's like the scope is big enough that it's a little different. Okay, but that brings us to the end of the first round. We will have in the next round, we'll have flying versus super speed. That's a fun one. Invisibility versus telekinesis, time control versus shapeshifting, and mind control versus weather control in the next round. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick breather and we'll be right back. Okay, let's get right to it. Elite 8 round matchup 1. We have flying, the number 1 seed, versus 9 seed super speed. This is a close one for me, personally. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm leaning towards super speed. I mean, I've made my reservations about flying known. I think super speed would be more fun than flying because I really do think like the drawbacks of flying are more stark. And they're never depicted as such in superhero movies, or shows or anything. It's like always like a seamless, effortless thing. And I really just don't think real world flying would work like that.
I think that it's easier to blend into normal human society with super speed and still get some advantage of it from flying. Like you could just win the 100-meter dash at the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that would be sick.
Yeah.
It would be really sick.
Whereas with flying, it's like, sure, you could win high jump or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like it's harder to like hide flying than it is to hide super speed. And also, like, being the fastest person alive is like a cooler title than winning the gold medal.
Yeah, it's not even close.
I was pretty high on flying in the first one, but I think I'm leaning towards super speed. After you guys kind of calmed my reservations about accidentally like running into a brick wall, and you're saying no, you've got like reflexes. Like the Flash doesn't do that. He doesn't just accidentally run into stuff most of the time. So I think that's probably where I'm at.
Here's the thing. There are superheroes like the Flash, maybe just the Flash, whose only power is speed, and they're good.
Yes.
There's no superhero whose
Quicksilver.
only power is flight.
Quicksilver's another one. Sorry.
Right, Quicksilver also just speed. There's no superhero whose only power is
Falcon.
Flight is the but he can shoot. He's got a.
He also his only
also Falcon
superpower
kinda
is
sucks,
being
right?
friends with Tony Stark, who gives him all of his shit. Like that's
Right,
basically
Falcon has homing missile, whatever the fuck. Like,
can he even fly, or does he? Is it not like a mechanical
it's a suit.
thing for him?
It's a mechanical thing. So
that's not even a superpower.
Yeah.
flying is the number one secondary power, probably.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be your only power, I'd rather have super.
What about Hawkman? What else can Hawkman do?
He's pretty strong.
Okay.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl are like
And can
very,
he
very
control
strong.
hawks? Can he like talk to hawks?
Don't know about that.
Who would you rather be? Who would you rather be, Hawkman or Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
Really?
Tony Hawk's loaded.
Yeah,
Dude.
for sure.
Come on.
Tony Hawk seems like one of the like 6 people in the world who's like at peace.
We've already discussed that the
Yeah,
best
that's probably true,
superpower
actually.
on this list that's not actually on there is just money. So
Yeah. That's
what if
bad.
what if we just magically throw into the bracket here like being Jeff Bezos? Like would you rather be able to fly or have Jeff Bezos' money? You just
I mean, that's actually a pretty easy answer. It's Jeff Bezos' money.
yeah, that's not close at all.
Right.
Yeah. So are we all voting super speed?
I am.
It looks that way.
Wow, incredible. The 1 seed goes down. The 20 listeners who voted for flying to be in the bracket.
But see, that makes sense though because
be
everybody will pick flying, but not everybody will pick flying first.
I will say, so like the way we did the survey was not ranking.
Right.
So it's not like flying out the most number ones. It's just like, give me the top 10. And then the ones that were most often put in top 10 were seated accordingly.
Which
so a lot of
pays
people think
off.
flying is like the 10th best one, which I think is fair. Like, I think it's like, I think a lot of people would pick flying, as Pat said, it's like your secondary power.
This was basically our experiment with ranked choice voting. I'd say it worked out
But
really
no.
well.
Well, it wasn't ranked choice though, is the problem.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So it wasn't at all an experiment with ranked choice. That's the opposite of what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
fuck
we're
you.
going to cut that part, and we're going to let
No,
my
it has
joke
to- You
might
stand
actually
on its own.
like talking jokes about, you know, drinking and how you can only be happy if you're drinking and all that. That's fine, but what might actually get you
Yeah.
fired here is you fucking
Don't make
uprated.
up
Talking about
shit about weird
suggesting
political systems.
Good voting practices. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Too real.
Fuck everybody.
Okay.
Oh,
Not
Pat,
everybody.
Pat just took a swig of his seltzer and is now making just an awful face.
Is it warm
And
now?
I like Spike Seltzer. I am like unabashedly big in the camp of Spike Seltzer, but this Polar Seltzer is so bad.
How
What
could
makes
you
it- makes
even
it
mess
bad?
that up? Yeah.
It tells what makes it bad.
The flavor. It's
Wow.
they took like the essence of grapefruit and found everything bad about it.
Well, I think grapefruit is kind of bad.
I love most grapefruit seltzers. A grapefruit White Claw, a grapefruit Bon and Viv. Incredible.
I don't even know what
Makes
that
it
is.
feel real
This-
fancy.
That was a Bon and Viv.
It's the best Spike Seltzer.
I'll take
It is
your word
the Miller High
never heard of
Life of spiked seltzers.
for it. The champagne of seltzers. Okay. We now have 2 seed time control, and I think we teased a little bit about this one earlier, versus 7 seed shape shifting. What do we think? Is time control like too dark and ominous to actually take as your own superpower?
Shapeshifting means animals still, right?
Yeah, we're not going to change it from round to round. I don't think
The pause is just so good. Being able
the
to pause.
the pause of being a dog after you shapeshift.
Oh my god. What works when you pause time? Like if you pause time and turn the TV on, is the TV going?
No,
No,
See?
I mean you can read books while you're paused. You can learn languages. You can learn to cook.
I don't do good with learning.
Okay, that's that line alone is a cold open.
Right.
That's the best line that's ever been uttered on this podcast. I don't do good with learning.
I will pull out my transcripts. It is true.
Hey, C's get degrees, baby.
Roll Tide.
With the pause, you can it's got a similar like line cutting property. You can just pause, walk into a concert, unpause, and you're there and you're seeing it. You know what I mean?
So it's kind of teleportation-y.
Right.
Yeah.
It's teleportation. You just have to be able to walk.
Right, because the
bike
plane's not going
or
to be
something,
moving.
yeah.
The cars and the trains
Right.
aren't going to work.
Yeah.
I just think, like, you guys want to talk about like powers being lonely. I don't think there's anything more lonely than being able to pause time.
I would agree with that.
But then you unpause it and you're with, you know,
Yeah, but
you're
but then what's the point of pausing it?
What are you using it for?
You can Mrs. Doubt. You could pull off a Mrs. Doubtfire. You can have two plans at the same time with two different people, and just be like going back and forth between both of them. You can maximize.
You could also shapeshift into Mrs. Doubtfire. So
Great point.
Excellent point by Preston.
What are the combat capabilities of time control? 'Cause I feel like we haven't talked
I mean,
about that.
the same as teleportation, presumably. You could pause time and you could remove a gun from somebody's hand and put it like way away in the woods, and then like they wouldn't have it.
Why would you just keep it for yourself? Hold up here. You're not maximizing this, Preston.
I'm just imagining Preston. So he's like in some combat scene, he pauses time, he takes a gun, and then he sort of casually strolls over to the woods.
Oh, now there's
buries
guns
it,
out of the
tamps
picture.
it
Now we
down,
can fight fair and
and he's
square.
Right, and then he walks back and he's like, all right, fisticuffs.
Listen,
I appreciate that.
I'm a very pacifist.
That's some
time
gold.
user.
That's some golden age shit right
I'm a
there.
very pacifist time user. I have a spot in the woods where I bury all the firearms.
Yeah, and or you could stop and just like beat the shit out of the guy, and then you unfreeze time, and he's like, oh, all my ribs are broken, that kind of thing. I think.
Right. I'm gonna go time control then, just for the pause, if nothing else.
I mean, the pause is huge.
So here's what you get with shapeshifting. You get flight. You don't get super
Potentially.
speed, but you get beasts or animals that can move a hell of a lot faster than humans.
Yeah, you get cheetah speed.
Right. You get super strength in the form of like I said, big animals, big mammals. You can also shapeshift, I'm assuming, into like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who I bet is pretty dang strong. So like I feel like you get little bite-sized pieces of everything else that we've kind of talked about, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Right. It's like you get like a B+ of every
Yes. A little buffet.
Yeah, and then like
I like that. I like that.
it is. You also like if someone's like, you want to go back to Preston's hypothetical where like someone has a gun, like you could turn into something that's bulletproof. Turn into a rock, or like someone's about to punch you, and right before they hit you, you turn into something that breaks their fist. You know,
We're so creative on this.
yeah.
Just into a tiny rock, and then they're like, do I even
bother?
Do I even still shoot it or what?
I was thinking about like a big boulder. To be fair,
If we're talking about like practical day-to-day security, shapeshift into the performer of the concert, or shapeshift into the bank teller, or shapeshift into the people that work at the restaurant or the grocery. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's a
right.
lot.
So like
there.
like a Mystique situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the downside is much more limited, right? Because the downside of time fucking up is like horrible.
awful. That's the thing. I honestly,
So
like we're
horrible.
arguing for shapeshifting like it's maybe more powerful. I don't think it is. I just
I
think
don't think
time control is so fucking scary. Like I don't really want any part of it. I just don't.
Welcome to the land of the
shapeshifting-
cynics, Dan.
The downside of shapeshifting is like some kind of weird version of body dysmorphia that we haven't even imagined yet.
Yeah, or you get really self-conscious with what you as an actual human being look like. Because why would you not just be shape-shifting into Liam Hemsworth just all the time? Why would you not do
Right.
He's not really my type.
that? Okay, Chris Hemsworth. God.
I'm more of a Chris Hemsworth guy for sure.
All right, there you go. I honestly couldn't remember which one I liked and which one I didn't like, and I took a 50-50 shot in the dark. Which one is Thor?
I think
Chris is
Preston.
Thor.
I think you
Chris.
made an incredible case for shapeshifting here.
Yeah.
I feel like time control was a lock coming into this, and this is like the best This is like one of the best cases anyone has made.
Wow, and Pat's a lawyer.
I'm still voting for time control.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boo.
But Preston, like that was.
You don't feel as good about it.
That was really good.
Shape-shifting.
You turned a lock into a buzzer beater for me.
Yeah, to me it comes down. So it sounds like I'm splitting the vote, and to me, I do think time control is more powerful. But in terms of best, which is we're trying to find the best power, I think time control. And Preston said like there's basically no example of it in like any of the superpower fictional universes where it ends up as a good thing. Time control. Like it's pretty much always pretty heavily negatively consequenced.
I wouldn't want to fuck with going back in time and changing stuff or whatever, but the pause is so good. Like the pause has almost unlimited application.
Prevent yourself though from going back.
I feel like with the pause, I would be less tempted. Like I'd have the pause, Like I would be able to, as opposed to some of these other ones where it's like, could you stop yourself from using telepathy? Whereas with this, it's sort of like the pause allows me to not, have to necessarily have all the regrets that you would go back and try to change in terms of like the ways that you would start dipping a toe into going back. Because I feel like the problem is that you start dipping a toe and like, oh, I kind of wish I had done yesterday different. You know what? I'll go back, do yesterday, no problem. Next thing you know, you're like trying to fix 5 different timelines worth of meddling and everything like that. But I think the pause is so good. And there's so much you can do with the pause that you're not necessarily going to like get tired of it and be like, well, what if I went back in time?
I'd like to be a rhino, though. I feel like that'd be cool. So shape-shifting for me.
I think I've got to err on the side of rhino as well. I'm voting shape-shifting to move it into our final 4.
Massive upset, I think. Going into this, looking at time control, I was like, that's an easy final 4.
I do think it is a big upset. I mean, it's a 7 seed upsetting a 2. I just think the drawbacks of time.
Yeah, where have we seen that before? Oh no, it was an 11. It was an 11.
Too.
Sorry, it was even
still
worse.
Rude.
It was
still
even
just as rude
worse.
as you wanted it to be.
Okay, we now have mind control versus weather control.
This one seems kind of easy.
To me, it's an easy mind.
You're talking about a party trick versus a legit superpower. I mean,
I think saying either as a party trick is minimizing whichever.
Which one is the party trick?
I was saying weather control is the party trick.
No, I think weather control is way more powerful.
Okay.
What do you do? What's the party trick? Like I'm raising the temperature.
Everybody
in
go
this
outside. No, I think it's probably mind control here.
I think it has to be mind control.
Who's the bastion of weather control in like superhero universe? I guess Storm from X-Men.
Storm.
I guess that'd be it. I don't know about Storm as a kind of
mind control. I feel like your guys' concerns about time. Mind control is like you want to feel alone. Like once you start controlling people, once you start puppeting, like mind control is sort of for me the ultimate. Like is impossible to be a good. It's literally one of the.
I acknowledge that. Like if I'm taking mind control, I'm going full villain with it.
Ooh.
Right, it's one of the what's in Harry Potter, the like 3 curses that like intolerable. Yeah, unforgivable. It's one of the 3 unforgivable curses. Would you ever be able to truly enjoy any human interaction ever again? I don't know. I feel like once you break the seal on mind control, it's just sort of like everyone becomes your puppet. It's you like, oh, I don't really like the way that they're handling this situation. Like, oh, I'll just fix it a little bit. Like, I'll just make their reaction to what I did a little bit okay, a little bit fine. And then you like Prentice, you're worried about like being alone with time travel. At least with time travel, you can like, you can like try to change things. You can go back and like, oh, I hope they react differently this way. It's like you just become a god with mind control.
Yeah, I'm fully embracing that. Like, I think so. That's the thing. I just think. I think mind control is so powerful. Like you have to take it. It's so much more powerful than weather control. I'm not saying that it's good. I think it's a villain's superpower.
Right.
I totally agree.
But it's a villain superpower it's not even like fun to be a villain with mind control. It's like
know.
King Midas or something.
I think if you're like fully getting into the whole villain thing, I think it'd be pretty fun. If I were a real person, if I Daniel Prentice in my form had mind control. Yeah, it would fuck me up. I wouldn't be able to handle it. But like in a world where all of a sudden I have this power and I'm a fucking villain, I mean, I would rule the whole world.
I'm now thinking of like if you took on
and then you'd sit on your throne of ash. and just like, well, now
Admire
what?
what you've created.
You know?
Look up and see there were no more worlds to conquer.
It's like using a cheat code in a video game, and it's fun for the first 20 minutes, and then you're like, I'm not going to play this game anymore. Except you're stuck and you're trapped in this prison of gold you've made for yourself.
I do think you could do the mind control for good, though.
I was actually trying to run through
but
that.
you could.
I was running through that in my head of like what a Robin Hood mind control power would look like, where you just walk into Washington, D.C., and you're like, okay, we're going to fix this now. We're going to do this today. Or you go into like Rich Boy Convention and you're like, all right, let's find out everybody's bank account information. You know, like, I think there's some stuff you could do that's not that's maybe chaotic good.
That didn't go where I thought it was going to go.
It's chaotic good on the D&D spectrum, right?
Talk to me about these Rich Boy conventions that you.
Yeah, how do I get in on one of those? I guess you got to be a rich boy.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say you guys aren't aware of the Rich Boy conventions. Sorry.
Yeah, I do think it's doable. Now that I think about it more, I was like, I wanted to embrace the villainy of it, but I do think you could do it for good. You just like you got to accept the fact that there are a lot of shitty people in the world, like a whole lot. And I think, maybe if you're mind controlling those people, it might fuck with my soul a little bit. But I think you could do it in a way it's for the greater good, mind control. And it's just so powerful. Like I think it's unfair to diminish weather control to a party trick, as Preston said, which I think he has walked back, to be fair. But mind control is just so unbelievably strong. I think like if you're just pure strength evaluating all of these, mind control is number one. So I think it can't go out as something.
Are you making yourself too big of a target with mind control?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You know what I mean? Are you like do the Avengers now have to team up to kill you if you have mind control?
Their minds.
Yeah, but they'll figure it out. This is comic books.
It's
It's
they'll
superpowers.
figure it
Like there's
out.
always
they find the helmet that like blocks the mind control or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I potentially
Like, isn't this literally the villain of Jessica Jones? Is
Yes.
like someone who has mind control,
but
and then she like snaps his
I
neck.
feel like you
because-
can be very measured with it though. If you have,
I think so. I trust myself in this.
yeah,
case.
you got to set up some pretty strong rules for yourself. Not gonna mind control anybody I know personally. I'm gonna keep it to the point one. Keep it to the point.
Listen to
1%.
yourselves.
the first people who
Listen to yourselves right now. You're like, we'll just set some guidelines in place. And
Listen, Pat. No one ignores
Surely
guidelines.
fine.
Okay, once you set guidelines, everyone adheres to them. Do we have a final vote here? I feel like we're butting
Yes.
heads now.
Mind control for me.
Weather control.
Okay, I'm also voting mind control. Sorry, Pat.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to yourself when you just have like the whole world. The whole world is your harem, and just nothing.
I will apologize to myself when the world is my hair.
Nothing. You'll become like the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean, and just like all pleasure tastes like ash in my mouth.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But hey, I'm not saying it's going to win. I'm just saying I'd rather have it than weather control. Okay, our final matchup of this round, we have invisibility versus telekinesis.
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 Okay, that's easy.
If for no other reason, because you can get that goddamn ship out of the Suez Canal.
Honestly, that is the best argument any of us have made for any of these superpowers so far.
Wait, okay, I haven't been following it that closely.
Yeah, I have another.
So maybe people are already talking about this. Why don't they just blow up the ship?
Because there's a lot of shit that's worth a lot of money
There's
on
a
it.
lot of money on there. And also, if you blow up the ship, what happens to the debris that...
I'm sure it's easier to... The canal being blocked up is costing the global economy $9 billion a day.
Here's the fucked up thing. Apparently, they could pretty easily maneuver it if they just took all the shit on it off. But they don't want to do that because that would cost them time.
Mm-hmm. Time is money. Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Blow it up. Like, just drone strike it. Like if we're going to live in this nightmare world of, like, military surveillance and, like, drones everywhere... I'm with you. Right?
I'm with you. I think there are more
great.
creative solutions than taking like some 8-year-old's Tonka trunk and just like putting it up on the edge of it and just saying push. No, there's got to be some easier way.
Yeah, you want to talk about things that have potential negative consequences. Blowing up a massive ship is definitely not one of them. That couldn't possibly backfire in any way.
Look, I'm sure everything on there is insured, probably. And it's got to be let's say that's $500 million worth of damage or something. it's an easy decision.
If it's costing you $9 billion,
let's get Pat on the line. Let's get him on the line. Let's get him in charge or in contact with the powers that be.
Has anyone considered this?
Has anyone thought of blowing it up?
There's how many people
Blow
live
up
on
the
this
ship.
planet? How many people live on this planet? If half of them all pushed at the same time,
Could be done.
then it's gotta budge.
Are people at least considering this? I have no concept of what the discussion is.
I highly doubt it.
They're blowing up parts of the beach, as far as I can tell, and they're not blowing it up. They're just digging at it. They're trying to dig at the ground that it's stuck to, as far as I can tell.
Listen, you're welcome, world. We solved the Suez Canal problem.
Yeah, just
blow
blow
up the ship. That one's for free.
It seems like the straightest, the straightest path between 2 points is a straight line. The shortest distance between
So
2
blow up
points
the
is a
thing
straight
that's
line.
blocking the straight line.
Right.
Or we could use some of these superpowers.
Nice
that we're bracketing
transition.
here. Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
transition.
exactly. Telekinesis. Well, it was like the transition in and the transition out, so it wasn't that good, but we'll take it. We are now in the final four here, folks. We've got 4 superpowers left to determine what is the best superpower. First, we have super speed coming off of the crazy upset over flying versus telekinesis. Which one's going to the championship game?
This is tough.
I think I'm going to go telekinesis because super speed requires a little bit more with a suit, with a little bit, like there's just a little bit more you have to do.
You're so
to
hung
make,
up on the suit thing. Why are you so opposed against running fast naked, Pat?
Look, I chafe. All right,
That's very fair. Very fair.
I go through a lot of Gold Bond when I'm out there on the field, and I'm concerned about these things. I just feel like in order to max out super speed, there's a lot of other elements you kind of have to account for. Whereas with telekinesis, it's kind of the world's your oyster. You can it's as far as you want to push it. It's as far and it doesn't have necessarily the same moral conflicts of some of these other ones that we might.
I think both of those.
I do like the bracket kind of broke down, so it's more the practical
Yes.
stuff on one side, and then the other one is just sort of what kind of monster do you want?
I would say at every level of the smallest thing you need to do in your life, like pick up the remote or something, to the highest level, like fighting the world's worst supervillain. Like telekinesis just has a little bit of an advantage on most of those. It's just a practical day-to-day thing. I just like it
And you
better.
can fly.
What, can you fly?
You can fly too.
What is the point of having flying as a power on this list if basically every other power
what I'm
means
saying.
you can fly?
I don't think you can fly. I think you can levitate and hover, I would say.
No, but I'm saying, okay, if you can lift up a giant, 50 billion ton ship, can't you lift up a sewer grate that you're standing on and fly around?
Sure. But I don't think it's quite I don't think you're ever going massive speeds.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm, going Mach 6 or whatever, but I'm
It
cruising.
seems like you could get into the air, yeah, for sure.
I can do the fun part of flying. It's maybe not as practical as true flight as a superpower, but I can be flying up through the trees, hanging out with some birds, fist bumping them or wing bumping them, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a pretty
what's up, birds?
I'm a pretty
I'm one of
massive
you now.
proponent of super speed. Mostly because I'm slow and I've played a lot of sports and I've always wished I could be fast. So super speed is very tempting in that way. But yeah, I think it has to be telekinesis. Telekinesis is and kind of Pat was alluding to, it's a coverall for a lot of superpowers in a lot of ways. So I think that gets my vote as well. Preston, are you making a clean sweep or are you giving a pity vote to super speed over there?
Clean sweep. Telekinesis.
Okay. All right. So telekinesis moves on to the final. What will telekinesis be matched up with? Will it be shape-shifting or will it be mind control? Now, I will say, I think mind control, for the good of the people, I'm going to vote against mind control here. It can't go on further. I don't think it can. It's had its run. It's like mind control is the Duke of this bracket. Okay, it's extremely powerful.
You feel bad
about
it, but
moving
you
it
have
on,
to respect
okay?
it in some ways.
And in the end, it's better for the world for them to lose.
Okay, but this isn't really an argument against the capabilities of mind control.
No, it's not in
This
any
is
way.
You just not wanting mind control to win the bracket because of what it says about humanity.
I also do think it would be kind of weird to have shapeshifting go to the final. That just seems strange.
You're right. You're right. I have to vote for mind control. God damn it, you're right.
Right?
I have to vote for Duke.
I'm the biggest shapeshifting fan on here, I would say. But it does seem weird that
right.
it's made it this far. It does not seem like it fits.
Again, I'm voting for shapeshifting because mind control, that is the darkest, emptiest, like, there's no point to anything once you have mind control. It's just, you're just a hollow vessel. Like, if you want, it's just a massive existential crisis waiting to happen.
I'm
Shapeshifting,
you can mind control yourself
you
into not having an existential crisis?
if you could, then again, I feel like that just makes it worse.
Does it?
I actually am.
Can you mind control yourself? I don't think that's like a snake eating itself.
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
don't
not
think
I
That's a great question.
I feel like it's very.
I've genuinely never thought of that before.
I feel like it's very hypocritical of me to say that like time travel and telepathy have all these potential ethical downsides, and not say that mind control has the very real ones too.
It is extremely hypocritical.
So
Also, I feel like if okay, let's say it's combat between a shapeshifter and a mind control person. Shapeshift into some beast who the mind control person is like unfamiliar with, kind of like, how do I control the mind of a saber-toothed tiger? Is that different, than like controlling the mind of a human? Probably. I would imagine. Or shapeshift into.
Some animals don't even have minds.
is that true?
Yeah,
you can. Yeah, you think an ant has a mind?
I mean, it has a brain.
No, they don't.
Ants don't have brains?
No.
Wait. Okay, wait. Wait. There are actually living things that move and do things that don't have brains?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that they have.
I'm pretty sure they have brains.
Something.
They
have
not
something
have
that
brains.
is.
They operate
They have
on
something that is like.
they have like a sensory system kind of deal, but they do not have like a brain.
They don't have like a 1-to-1.
I'm sorry. Ants have brains.
Show me. No, they don't.
They have something. They have something that does the job of a
The
brain.
suggested question on here is also, do ants fart? Which I like that we're also considering that at the same time. Yes, ants have brains. Yes. Like most of these people are trying to answer the existential question, like, do they have feelings? But that's not the same as having the organic thing of a brain.
Okay. They do have brains, but they don't have minds. They don't have minds.
Well, that's like
100% on that.
That's like
Right.
a soul question or whatever. We don't have to get into
No,
that.
it's not. It's not. There's like a part of the human brain that is responsible for the mind.
But you could control ants if you were mind controlling things.
I know. You couldn't.
It'd be different.
You could not
It'd be
control
different.
the mind of an
Way
But you
ant.
could. Oh, no, that's
You couldn't control the
ridiculous.
mind of an ant. You can't. You couldn't.
Well, then if
Because ants are like hive. Ants are
but
hive
here's the
mind
thing: if you
creatures, they're
shapeshift
all-
into an ant, by your logic, I would then lose control of what I was doing, and I would never shapeshift back because I just think ant must do things.
Well, is being an ant not better than being a mind control?
I'm saying I'm like kamikazeing the evil mind control person by turning into like turning into a Black Widow and launching myself. at
Or
them.
turn into
So-
a rock like Dan wants to do. Be like, get me now, lady. Let's
Right.
go.
only in certain situations when it's useful. Okay, you telling me there's no situation where it'd be useful to be able to turn into a rock? Come on.
I mean, trying to hide amongst other rocks. Sure.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's a lot of great bits or jokes. Like if someone in your crew of friends, like whenever they tell a really bad joke, you just turn into a rock.
Crickets. Crickets is always going to be better.
that'd
That's
be
worth
great.
it. Worth it on its own.
Right.
So, wait, so are you both voting for
Turning
shapeshifting?
into
No.
a literal cricket would be. I'm voting for shapeshifting, both because of kind of what Preston was talking about before, where it's like a B+ of everything. It's a great. You can cover so many bases with it, and I don't think it has a lot of downside compared to what I think is like the biggest downside item.
And
here,
this is
or
about
superpower
like not
here.
which is the most powerful, or at least that's not how I've been judging. It's like which one would you most
which
want
is the
to
best
have?
to have.
And
Sure.
and that's shapeshifting for me.
Okay.
It does feel weird to
goes
have
on
that
there.
go to the final amongst this list, but I do like the idea that there's not a lot of downside to it. You can just kind of
Well, I feel like
whatever.
I feel like we no longer have a compelling final. I mean, is anyone taking shapeshifting over telekinesis? No way.
Look, this is March Madness brackets, right? It's like you get the upset run to the final, and then they run into
Gonzaga, whatever.
Duke or Kentucky or whoever.
No, I'm probably taking telekinesis.
Of course, you're taking telekinesis.
Yeah.
It's telekinesis.
The thing about
Telekinesis
telekinesis
is the
that I
winner.
find so compelling is that it's useful at so many levels. Like, you want to talk about like the party trick thing? There's nothing more like there's no better superhero than party tricks than telekinesis. And then also, like, basically it has limitless power, as Pat kind of alluded to in the last run. You can do basically anything with telekinesis. You could probably find a way to control people's minds with telekinesis, or control their bodies at least, if not their minds.
You could certainly try.
Right.
They would resist, but you could certainly try. No, I think it's definitely that. I mean, there's a reason that like some of the most famous like heroes in our pop culture that have telekinesis eventually become villains because they get too strong. So like that has to count for something. It's definitely telekinesis.
It's very, very good. Okay, well, like, telekinesis wins the bracket. It's the best superpower. You're welcome.
I feel good
that
about
makes
that.
sense.
I feel pretty good about it, too.
I think we learned some important things here.
One, I've got no willpower. If you give me any sort of strength, I will abuse it until I break.
Detrimental
emotionally.
effect.
Yes.
I think we learned that during the junk food episode.
That's probably true, too.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Pat.
That's fine.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Were there any superpowers that you wanted to be in the bracket? There were two, actually, that I intentionally left out of the possibilities, and one was immortality. Because I think immortality...
That's less a superpower and more like a...
Yeah, it kind of breaks the whole system, I think, a little bit. Another one that this one I didn't leave out intentionally, but one that I was a little disappointed was being, like, impenetrable. Basically, like Superman's bulletproof power, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
I think that one would have been interesting to see how it matched up against some of the other superpowers.
I think that the listeners did a pretty good job of picking. I feel like X-ray vision would have been fun to talk about. I was getting prepared to talk about how valuable X-ray vision would be, not from a like fighting other superhero standpoint, but just like in the day-to-day life. I feel like X-ray vision is like sneakily useful.
Should we have included X-ray vision in heightened senses? And super senses should have been included.
Oh. If it did, then heightened senses becomes much more compelling. I feel like we needed to amp that one up a little bit, because like heightened senses just seemed a little too vague as far as like what you're actually accomplshing with it. Like just really good reflexes.
It's like
smell and
I mean,
stuff.
Spidey sense, like, you know, you have a sense something's gonna happen before it does. Another one like was like Daredevil's hearing. So basically, like he can hear.
But if you can see, you don't want Daredevil's hearing.
I mean, it would help to have both.
Would fuck you up.
Yeah,
right.
I think I've given you like a massive migraine. The most like popular power when I have this conversation with other people that didn't seem to make our bracket was teleportation.
Teleportation, I think, is like when people ask me what superpower would I pick, it would be teleportation. Like, I think it's like the most easy to apply to your real life without like drastically changing your life.
Right. That's the one that was, I don't think, was on the list, right? The initial list of what people were voting on?
It was not voted into the 16.
Oh, well then people fucked up.
Yeah, some of the other ones that didn't make it, self-multiplication, which I think is interesting, but also, again, has the same kind of moral, ethical, which one is the real me sort of problems. Super intelligence, I find really cool. Mm-hmm. Would that have gone anywhere?
What does that even mean? I mean, is that a superpower? Like,
basically, you're just human Google.
Just being really smart.
You're so smart.
It would be really great for me because I'm not good at learning things. I'm trying to see what else maybe could have made it, but I think those are all the real meaningful ones. You have control of animals. If that was something more of like communing with animals, sort of like Aquaman style, instead of just like straight up control.
Aquaman falls under that.
Yeah, I like that a lot, but I don't see it being more powerful than anything else that was really on there.
It's not better than shape-shifting.
It just sounds fun. Yeah, it just sounds like super cool.
You don't talk about being lonely. You'd never be lonely if you could talk
for sure
and talk to animals.
Okay, what is the one, like, you can't even really call it a superpower, but like just a sort of like slightly above average human ability power that you would want? Like just like one like quotidian little, like a thing of like you never trip, or you just like you never like what is the one tiny little thing that you
this is like one of the list of potential powers, but it's not really a power. It's being extremely lucky. I don't know if that qualifies or not. Like just being extremely lucky would be really, really
There
good.
is a character in Deadpool 2 where her
really
superpower is just being extremely lucky.
her luck. Yeah,
It's incredible.
Yeah, if that's on the board, then that's definitely the one to take.
I know it sounds kind of lame, but just like not like uber wealth, but just like a nice, comfortable, like where I'm not gonna have to worry, and I can occasionally buy my friends
just like being someone who was born
with a silver
in
spoon.
the 1960s.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, just a boomer.
Yeah.
Just being a baby boomer. That's really
not
all.
being part of the worst generation of Americans financially. Yeah, that sounds like a good superpower.
What a note to end this pod on, boys. Well done.
Sorry.
Way to wrap it up on a positive. No, Preston, I have to say, did remarkably well considering we started this podcast immediately after his team got knocked out of March Madness. Pat, thank you so much for joining us. Pat suggested this theme topic, so I hope you enjoyed it, my friend.
Yeah, this was great.
I have to say, it was a great exercise to discover that telekinesis is, in fact, the best superpower. Again, very little context of what best means, but it's the best. Thanks so much for listening, guys. This wraps up, unfortunately, our March Madness edition of the show. We will be taking next week off, and then we will be back with normal drafted episodes. Pat will certainly be back for season 2, so you'll be able to hear him and all his ridiculousness, slightly more edited than this week. Let's see. I'm very interested to see how much of Pat makes into this episode. I think there were maybe some areas where he didn't quite make the cut, but it'll be fun to hear.
Release the moose cut. Release the moose cut.
All right, guys, you know where to find us on Twitter at DraftedPod, on Facebook, on Instagram at DraftedPod. We're trying to get the Instagram going. And please, if you can, in any way, consider supporting us on Patreon. It would mean the world to us. And come join the Discord. The Discord's a lot of fun. Even Pat, who's like pretty vehemently anti-Discord, has been somewhat active in the Discord. So.
It was less fun when Pat brought his garbage takes into it, but take that for what you will.
No, it wasn't any less fun. But hey, yeah, come join the Discord. Come hang out with us. We're going to do some fun things in there. And we will talk to you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.